Ashley and Katie here for the Clemson Insiders Monday Student Blitz, and Clemson is coming off a huge Palmetto Series win against South Carolina 34-10 in Williams-Brice Stadium. And a lot of talk wasn't really about the game necessarily, but what was being thrown onto the field. And you were on the sidelines during the game and in the warm-ups. So talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so the throwing thing started much before the game even started. About an hour or so beforehand, Clemson comes out onto the field for warm-ups, and it already began. Their student section was there. They were throwing bottles. They were giving the finger, just really, really some unclassy moves. But it kind of seemed to fuel Clemson even more. And then it continued throughout the game, but never really seemed to phase Clemson.
And one of those players that it might have fueled was Hunter Renfrow, who had his best game of the season. Coming into the game, he had only had one touchdown on the year, and he had two in that game. So what did he have to say about that, or what does that mean for the team?
Yeah, so, two big touchdowns for him. One was a 60-yard reception, 61-yard, which was the longest touchdown reception of his career. And he said today, prior to this Clemson-Carolina game, and the other two that he's played in, he's only had one catch. So it was really, really special for him to have such a big game, have those two touchdowns. So he was very, very pleased with that.
And while Clemson was busy winning on Saturday, Miami actually lost to Pittsburgh 24-14, and the Clemson football team knows that pretty well. Last year they lost to Pittsburgh, but what is that? Does that have any indication of the game this week or about Miami's playing ability going into the ACC championship?
I don't think it does because, like you said, Pitt did the same thing to Clemson last year, and look where they ended up. So I don't think Miami is going to be thinking about that at all. I think they're going to come ready to play. Mark Richt has really, really turned that program around in the time that he has been there. They have 29 forced turnovers on the season. As everyone knows, they have their turnover chain, and Dexter Lawrence was funny today. He was saying, well, their defense gets a turnover and they get the chain. When Clemson forces a turnover, they just get a high five from Coach Venables. So yeah, no, they're definitely going to come ready to play, and ball security is going to be extremely important for Clemson in this game.
And so Miami lost on Saturday, but Alabama also lost, and they've been number one throughout the entire season this year. So the playoff committee is going to have a big decision to make on Tuesday about who they rank as number 4. And Wisconsin is also still undefeated on the season. They're 12-0. How do you see the playoff rankings standing right now?
I mean, right now there's a lot of question marks. I think there's a lot of things it's just really unpredictable. Personally, I think Clemson should be number 1 just because of strength of schedule and some of the wins that they've had. I know that there's a lot of talk and kind of a lot of love going towards Oklahoma as well. Yes, they have a very explosive offense, Baker Mayfield, but their defense is not dominant. They gave up 31 points to West Virginia, who had a backup quarterback in. So that's what I think. And then as far as everyone else, you have Georgia playing Auburn this week, Wisconsin playing Ohio State. So there's just a lot of question marks, but hopefully after this week that'll clear things up.
Well, keep up with the Clemson Insider the rest of the week as Clemson prepares for Miami in the ACC championship.